And let's also talk about, what exactly is radical traditionalism. I'll take a stab at my definition and then I want to hear yours. So I would effectively define it as a tendency to um, go to an extreme, even to the point of dissenting against the living magisterium under the guise of tradition. I would say it's a tendency to, under the guise of a false sense and a false understanding of tradition, to pit the living magisterium against something in the past, to insist on rupture, not in a good way insisting on it, but to say the living magisterium is out of step with the past, and so we have to go back to the ancient ways of doing it, again under a false understanding usually of what the past actually is, and a false understanding of what one's assent is to the living magisterium. That's, I guess, how I would encapsulate it. I don't know if that's a good working definition. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. And I think there's two things going on here. In the one sense, as you say, it is an attempt to sort of pit tradition against the magisterium, against the way the church has developed to this day. So what's going on there is a very interesting kind of denial of the legitimacy of certain developments within the church. So to the extent that there may be something in the earlier expressions of Christianity that we don't do now or that we do differently now, there's a denial of development. There's a denial of the legitimacy of development over time. But then on the other hand, the other thing that's going on here is, as you say, there is a real misunderstanding about what tradition is,
Yeah.
what the tradition is, and what the early Christians did. And so for example, the more I look at the radical traditionalists now, the more I see that their claims seem to be just a different version of the old Protestant myth. In other words, the Protestant myth, and this is what I was taught, coming up, the Protestant myth is that the Protestant Reformation was all about getting back to a more original version of Christianity, that the Catholics had added things and ruined it, and that therefore the Reformation was about getting back to original Christianity. This is why I started my whole YouTube channel, The Original Church. And of course, that is a myth, right? And the Protestant Reformation did not go back to original Christianity. But what I see happening in radical traditionalism is a version of that same myth, that we are this sort of group within the church who want to go back to some kind of more pristine version of Christianity before it was wrecked through illegitimate development or adding superstitions or whatever it is, or bad popes, or whatever the claim is. Underneath that is the same old Protestant myth that I think needs to be debunked. And so here we find ourselves having to sort of point out a couple of really important things. And by the time we finish today, we're gonna get around to some, I think, real sort of concrete conclusions about this that I want to make sure we point out. But anyway, that's I think a
Mhm.
good place to start.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button. God bless.